Hello, I'm Nancy Holland, Executive Director of A Tiny Act of Kindness, Tiny Homes for the Homeless. Today you are watching our interview with Immanuel Ivey. Hello and welcome, Immanuel. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am the Community Solutions and Entrepreneurship Center's director here at the Edna Martin Christian Center. Um, what I do here is I help individuals start up, sustain, and scale their businesses. Before this role, I was the program manager of our Career Education and Training Academy, in which we assist and help individuals with job readiness training, financial literacy, also helping individuals earn a industry recognized credential, either within construction, logistics, or culinary hospitality. And also we help individuals gain their HSC and help them and assist them with going to college if they choose to.
That's fantastic. What rewarding work that must be.
Yes, yes, it is very rewarding.
So, in working with these different programs and these different types of assistance, I would imagine that you come across the homeless community. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with working with the homeless community?
Yes. So I've been doing nonprofit social service work for over 17 years now. So the individuals that we work with here at the Martin, I would probably say at least 10 to 15% are actually homeless. So we do have a very it's not a high population, but we do see several individuals that come in either through actual programming or additional services that we offer. So we do have food pantry here Monday through Friday. Also, we do assist with utility assistance and rental assistance as well. So those individuals that may have been homeless, looking for a permanent place to stay. So I'll probably say that the ones that identify about 10 to 15%, but I know there's plenty more as well.
And where is the Edna Martin facility located, and what area do you provide services to?
Well, we're located in Martindale Brightwood community. We are right off of 25th and Keystone, right next door to the Juvenile Center in the old school 37. So that's where our primary location is at, where we primarily serve our adults, and this is our adult basic education. Campus, and then we do have a second campus. That's our leadership and legacy. That's off 23rd and Ralston, and that's where we serve our youth and our seniors.
Okay, so fairly close to downtown Indianapolis then.
Yes,
And
probably about a good 10 minutes away.
okay, so we find ourselves right now in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hmm.
How are you seeing this pandemic affecting the community that you serve, and what are the needs that you're seeing?
Yeah, so right now our food pantry has increased its capacity. So we typically will serve an individual once every 30 days, but since this pandemic, we're now serving individuals once every week. So we are seeing a lot of returning individuals come to get food. One of the issues that they do have is some of them don't have IDs. And I know for a lot of other centers or for services, you have to have at least excuse me, ID to get service. So we have kind of been our procedures and processes a little bit just because we understand that sometimes just having a simple ID is a huge barrier for a lot of the individuals, especially who are homeless, because they don't have a piece of mail where that they can provide to the license branch. They probably don't have their social security card and things like that. So I just know for us, even this morning we had a meeting about that. What if the individual has their ID one week and the next week they don't, or they even don't have it at all? Are we still going to service them? And we decided yes, we will. But I just know from our end. not having a simple thing as an ID can stop individuals from receiving assistance or resources.
Yeah. I think that's great that understand the, dynamic situation that we're living in, and you want to continue to provide for the needs. Um, there is a lot of competition right now for charitable giving, and
Mhm.
the homeless are often overlooked. Uh, there's
Mhm.
certain biases and things that people have about the homeless. And so I'm curious to know, where are you finding your biggest supporters in your initiatives?
Um, well, I would probably have to say the majority of the funders that are here within Indianapolis and donors, we did receive the SURF funds through United Way and additional partners, in which we are assisting with additional food for the food pantry, but also helping individuals with their utilities and also with a rental or mortgage assistance. So. Um, we've been serving the community of Indianapolis for almost 80 years now. So we have a strong history of just helping and serving. So we, even though that we are on the east side, near east side, Martindale, Brightwood, our boundaries are open basically to the whole state. So we serve individuals throughout Marion County, but also the surrounding counties and anybody that needs service throughout the state. So that's probably one advantage that we have over other organizations that may haven't been in existence for years. But also, though, since we don't have any boundaries per se, that we're open to all of Marion County. So a lot of the funders and donors see that, and they know that we can serve a broader base rather than just Martindale Brightwood.
That's great. That's great. I would imagine you rely a lot on volunteers for a lot of your services. Where are you seeing any impact from the COVID-19 around your volunteer participation? And are are you finding ways to keep them protected and safe?
Well, we actually have stopped all volunteering and programming and services outside of food pantry. So a lot of the services and resources that we do provide are virtual. Is just actual coming here for food pantry. They can come in and then we'll do the paperwork or whatever that we need to do. So this unfortunately just from a risk management
Mhm.
perspective, all volunteering has been postponed for now. So currently, we're serving with a skeleton staff throughout the week. So the majority of the staff works remotely, and then we do have some staff here in the leadership team that comes in certain days out the week. So just unfortunately that we could use additional help, but we just want to keep everybody safe and just not have that liability on us that if somebody would get sick it'll be on us. So um but as we open back up, we definitely need that assistance with the volunteers.
Yeah, I understand. I know that there are a lot of faith-based organizations that have volunteers that typically go out and help to provide meals to the homeless on a weekly basis, and they have
Mhm.
all stopped their volunteer type of services. Again,
Yes.
just, to protect and follow the governor's orders,
Mhm.
and that does create some concern about those needs that were being met that are now not being met. But
Yeah.
I think it's great that you're able to keep your food pantry open, and I know there are others
Mhm.
like yourself that are doing that to help meet those needs.
Yes.
So you and I have had a little bit of conversation previously about the tiny home community concept that we are looking to launch, and I know you have limited knowledge about that, but you and I have discussed how it has been successful in many other states, but Indiana doesn't have a tiny home community yet.
Yes.
Um, what are your thoughts around the benefits and tiny home community being a viable solution? I know homelessness is a huge issue, a very complex issue, and there's not one
Yes.
right answer. But where do you feel that maybe tiny homes could be a possible solution? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the idea and the concept is great. I feel that it gives the individuals a sense of ownership. Also, it builds a community within the community and now within the community, because I know the homeless community, they have their own community, their own laws and kind of things like that. So it'll be a community within another smaller community. Also, I feel just kind of with our conversations that it would definitely provide additional, resources and services for these individuals. So it's not like that we'll just kind of set them in a tiny home and say, okay, we're done with you. From our conversations, just kind of looking at what organizations or what centers can come in to help out with those additional services. So so that's why I was like, man, this is a great idea, and this is what Edna Martin provides over here with the job readiness, with the financial literacy, with the earning industry recognized credential. If you want to start a business, we can assist you with that as well. So just looking at having an individual have some sense of ownership within that community, but also knowing that, hey, I have these plethora of other additional resources and services that I can take an advantage of. So at the end of the day, it'll be upon that individual now. Like, here's a place to stay. Here's all the resources that we have for you. Now it's upon you, to make your life for the better.
Yes, collaborating with an organization that, as you said, has been providing services for over 80 years to the community, making sure that we are spreading those services out and providing them to those that could really use that opportunity to better themselves and become a contributing member of the society and the
Mhm.
community is the end goal.
Yes, it is.
So, many people have certain biases about homeless individuals and kind of what the homeless community is like. You mentioned how you know that these homeless communities they kind of are in camps, and you might find one camp and it is they have kind of a mayor or a self-appointed leader that is
Mhm.
part of that camp, and they keep the type of individuals that they want in that camp. And then maybe a half a mile or a mile down the road there's another camp, and it has a different personality and a different leader and a different kind of management way that they run. But there are a lot of people don't understand that or realize that,
Mhm.
and there are also a lot of other things that people don't understand about homelessness, biases that everyone thinks that maybe they're have an addiction, or they have
Mhm.
a mental illness, or that they are an ex-felon, which all of that does exist. I'm not going to downplay that. However, that's not everything that encompasses homelessness.
Mhm.
In addition to that, there are stats that say that upwards of 50 to 60% of the US population probably have some form of mental instability that we all might not even realize or not be taken care of. So, what have you seen around biases within the homeless community, and what has been your experience? Because I know I had biases myself, and when I started volunteering and reaching out and started this organization, I realized that that it's an extremely rewarding, and I have some great friendships that I've made with the homeless community. So I just like to know your take on that and what you have found.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. A lot of individuals may think that they are addicts or have some sort of substance abuse issue. Um, a lot of people may think that they, don't want anything in life as well. So, but one thing that I've realized in working with this population is that, I mean, the stories kind of are endless. Kind of how they, got to the position they are right now. Some individuals, literally, lost everything as far as a job, the house, their family. Some individuals. May have been abused all their lives, and the streets is the only quote unquote the safe place to be at. So it definitely is not a um, something that one story or one issue is a blanket for all. There's a variety of different issues and barriers and tragedies that has happened to these individuals, and just with my work with them. um, but one thing that surprised me, and I'm not gonna lie about this, is that some individuals don't want housing.
Hmm.
We have that assumption that, hey, let's house everybody, put them in shelters, and some people just don't want it. And that truly surprised me. But even though that they don't want housing, they still want these other resources and services as well. So I think that um, that we do judge a lot of these individuals, and we do think of them in a negative way. But when you really truly just sit down and talk, but also really just listen, to their stories, there's no way that you can't show any empathy or sympathy, towards them. Now, how they choose to live their life, that's still on them. But I mean, just because somebody doesn't want a mansion, um, doesn't mean that they're less than. They've learned how to be content. They learn how to survive. They've learned how to see opportunity within their crisis. So we my only thing is, if you want to be helped, if you want to be served, then I'm willing to do that. But what I don't want to is force my assumptions or what I think they should do upon them, because a lot of times we do that. We say, hey, you know, get off the street, what I'm saying, stop begging, stop doing this, stop doing that. But, because the thing about it is, if you put somebody up in a house and they have no sense of financial literacy, they don't know how to budget, they don't know how to manage their money, then, you putting them in a house and expecting them to pay their rent the next month is really probably hindering them than really helping them. So we have to look at, what are ways that we can help them uh, to the point where they're at right now, rather than where we want them to be at 5-10 years from now. So just really kind of losing our ego, losing our pride to really serve them. What are your needs, rather than what I think we should do for you.
Hmm. Yes.
So hopefully I answered your question.
Absolutely answered my question. Yes, and I love some of the points that you made, where you're talking about things that we could learn from the homeless
Mhm.
population, of how to be content with what you have, how to survive, how to uh, make opportunities out of the things that you have, and how to ask for help and rely on others, are all great
Mhm.
lessons that we can learn.
Yes.
One thing I would love, you and I talked previously about a class that you provide, that you kind of are responsible for at Edna Martin. Can you, because you talked about we need to equip the homeless, and as you said, there are some homeless that don't want a house, and they're very content. They're happy where they are. I have met a few individuals during my volunteering who are, in fact, in that situation. I've also met some that have said that, and then have found that the streets aren't safe, and that there are a lot of individuals who will prey on their vulnerability, um, and have realized that, okay, maybe I just don't want a traditional home. Maybe I want
Right.
something that is more stable and more safe and secure, but not a traditional home. And again, that's where I think that a tiny home community could meet those needs and provide some security and safety.
Yes.
But in addition, I think, you mentioned that some of our current programs are not necessarily set up to provide a successful transition off of the streets, where you might take someone who's been homeless for 10 or 15 or 20 years and put them into an apartment, and then they're isolated. They are cut off from their community, and they don't know how to ask for help, and they don't know how to get help, and then they don't know how to manage their finances. They don't know how to take care of their trash. They've been living for 15 or 20 years in a camp, and they've just kind of thrown their trash out on the ground. And
Mhm.
so, a tiny home community can provide that transition time of helping them to understand what you need to do to live in a community, and how you are going to be most successful in a community
Mhm.
type of situation. And I know, Edna Martin, you have some of those types of programs and services that you provide. But then, even beyond that, you have some other programs and services once they transition out of the tiny home into a more permanent type of housing. Can you talk a little bit more about some of those services?
Yes. So we have kind of different pots of funds for either different populations or ages and kind of things like that. So here recently, we had our a fund, the HTF, the Housing Trust Fund. In which we partnered with United Way, I think these funds did come from the city or the city council. I'm not a 1,000% sure, but I think that's where they came from. But what we did was help individuals out who had some sort of criminal history, either being just released from prison or jail, and or just having the barrier of having that criminal history on their record, and helping them, looking at what apartment complexes that are willing to waive the box of having a felony, and letting them actually come in and be renters. So we were involved with this program for about 2 years now. It has recently ended. But we do have other funds, as far as like FEMA funds or the SURF funds that just came through United Way and other funders, that can help individuals out with housing. But even before we actually help you with the housing, we do want you to know, the basics of financial literacy. Looking at how to manage your money, how to set a budget, how to pay bills on time. So they actually have to go through a course, online and within in person, and also do some financial coaching as well with our financial coach. So it's not like, okay, boom, here's your first month's rent paid, or here's your deposit paid, and that's it. No, we want you to be successful within this journey. So even before we even refer you to an apartment complex, you have to do a financial literacy, but you also have to do our job readiness training, and the goal is for you to be placed as well, because once again, we can pay for your first month's deposit, we can pay for your first month's rent, but what's going to happen afterwards. What we don't want to do is just put a band-aid on these situations and these barriers. We really want to help out, so we can heal that wound. So
Mm,
except just throwing money at you, no, we're gonna throw some money initially, but also we're gonna help you, with these additional services and resources, so you can one have a sound mind on how to really work my finances. Do I get paid and just spend it all, or do I save? Do I put some money towards my bills? So really teaching them some financial strategies that they may have not known at all, or they may have known it, but they just kind of fell on hard times. So one great thing about the staff that we have here, they also have these real life situations and things that has happened to them. Especially for me. Before I was the director and the program manager. About 5 years ago, I was a financial coach as well. So there were times where I was actually laid off, didn't have my main income coming in. I had another side gig, but it still wasn't paying all my bills. But me just having that financial knowledge, me just saving for a rainy day, helped me out. So I can personally tell my testimony to these individuals. Yes, we'll help you with housing or employment, but there's still there's this financial information that you truly need. But it's not just hearing it and understanding it, but it's also about actually applying what you've learned. So that's why we have our financial coaches to really keep track and just follow up with the individuals. Hey, are you on track on paying your second month's rent? Okay, if they're on track with that, okay, what are other things now that we can do to help you out, as far as saving, as far as possibly finding additional employment, and or possibly starting a business as well. So the ultimate goal for us is to not have them in just one mindset. Yes, it's good to have a job, but there's more out there for you. Do you want to go to school? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to earn a trade and things like that? So kind of just looking at what all that we had to offer you, but at the same time meeting where you're at right now.
mm,
So um, like I said, so we have the resources, but it's more than just having the resources. It's gaining the knowledge, but also the understanding of, okay, if I utilize these resources, what's next? Because we can't save and help everyone. I mean, our resources do run out as well. So we don't want the individuals just to depend on us every week or every month.
mm,
We'll take that first 2 or 3 steps with you, but it's still upon you to live your life, to set your goals, to accomplish your goals, and then we're just here for that backbone and support.
mhm. Yeah, I hear a lot of different charitable organizations say it's a hand up, not a handout. And I think
Mhm.
that's kind of what you're talking about there, is that we are all focused on creating individuals who are well balanced, who have the knowledge and education to be able to live productive lives and contribute back to society. And I know
Yes.
that you have a lot of success stories of individuals that you've helped that now are volunteering. I know
Mhm.
that many different organizations that are providing the charity around the city have similar types of success stories. So
Yes.
that's what we're all in it for, and I think that that's great that you are providing those services and you are seeing those success stories.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
What else would you like to add? Anything else that I've missed that you'd like to make sure to share about this, population and the services?
Well, just for anybody um, that may hear this podcast, Edna Martin Christian Center, we are here to serve. Like I said previously, we don't have a infinite amount of resources, but the ones that we do have, they're for the community. But we still want the community to lift themselves up as well. And how do you lift yourselves up? By being financially smart and accountable. By earning a good, honest wage, by doing business, correctly. Um, by helping your neighbor out as well. So what we provide here, we try to demonstrate, through our staff, through our programming, through our training as well. It's not all about us. We cannot do it all. So that's why we do collaborate and partner with other organizations who are the experts within this. We can only do so much, but we're willing, to give our talents, to give, our resources and our services to any and everyone. So we're just here to serve. Even though that we're here on the east side in Martindale, Brightwood, we're open up to anybody. So anybody, has, those challenges of employment, or may have the challenges of housing, or just earning a certification or getting your high school diploma. We can help and assist with that, but we can only do so much. It's still upon that individual, to take the lead and really want to reach their goals. Excuse me. One thing that I do say, within our training and at our orientations is, I'm going to live my life, but I expect you to live yours as well. So don't be dependent on any and everybody. Really start to be independent on yourself, because if class starts at 9 o'clock, then it's upon you to wake up. It's upon you to get dressed or do whatever, to come to class. We're not going to call you and beg you to come. This is your goals. This is your life. This is what you want to accomplish. Yes, we're here to assist you. Yes, we're here to lay that foundation, but it's upon you to build upon that. So we definitely hold any and everybody that comes to our doors and who enrolls accountable, but also we tell them to hold us accountable as well for everything that we say that we're going to do for you.
Hmm. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for your service, for all that you do. Thank you for your time today with
No
sharing
problem.
with us. I really appreciate it very much.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for everything, and thank you for having me on.